I'd like to talk about the poverty reduction through social entrepreneurship framing as an aspiration, no? Tapos yung bill, yung coalition, at saka yung convergence for poverty reduction through social entrepreneurship. No? And I would like to focus somewhat on some conceptual issues because may na-raise na ganun. But I'd like to focus my attention to the proposals coming from the present coalition to the national government agencies about where we think we can move forward in terms of convergence, no? To actually do poverty reduction through social entrepreneurship. Let me just begin by talking about present as an aspiration and go quickly to the definition of social entrepreneurship. No? Social entrepreneurship entails innovations explicitly to improve societal well-being, housed within entrepreneurial organizations which initiate, guide, or contribute to change in society. This is a general definition, but I'd like to emphasize the point regarding innovations. No? Kasi, in countries like the Philippines and the South, this is a global phenomenon, but in countries like the Philippines and the South, social enterprises arose because of the failure of state and market forces to actually address the needs of the poor. Kaya sila mala-mala. Kasi hindi ma-address ng market forces, hindi din ma-address ng government ang ang needs ng poor. Kaya nag-develop itong mala-mala na social enterprise para gawin ito. And when we talk about social enterprises serving the poor as primary stakeholders, we actually came up with a definition from an action research based on experience in 4 countries in Asia, but also valid in the Philippines. And they are social mission-driven, wealth-creating organizations whose primary stakeholders are the poor or marginalized. The primary objectives is double or triple bottom line, but unlike CSR, no? Where if it's, sabi nga ni Erin kanina, di ba? If the profit bottom line is affected, matatanggal yung social program. No? A social enterprise, main reason for being it is social objective. Yung financial sustainability is supportive. Yeah? And then, in terms of enterprise philosophy, a business enterprise has an accumulative philosophy. No? It creates wealth and accumulates wealth for the owners. A social enterprise creates wealth and distributes it to its primary stakeholders who are the poor. So parang going further, we are wanting to show you, no, for the past, sabihin natin, 20, 25 years, there have been social enterprise models all over the Philippines. And mind you, I did a rapid scanning of social enterprises in 2007. No? And I came up with a rough figure of 30,000 social enterprises all over the Philippines. And maybe if government can start to consider social enterprises as actually major actors and partners in poverty reduction, we can actually do something innovative to actually do something about this age-old problem of poverty. No? One of them is alter trade. This was mentioned by Erin, and I'd like to just show that alter trade was able to show how it is to transform assetless, sugarless, sugar workers. No? Sugar workers who became agrarian reform beneficiaries. Assetless, powerless sugar workers who actually were transformed into agrarian reform beneficiaries. No? But through alter trade, they did interventions to empower them not only to become producers in the value chain of muscovado sugar, but actually to become empowered cooperative leaders and members that were doing something directly on their poverty situation. Yung cooperatives nila, nag-diversify sila ng sources of income. So in combination with the value chain engagement with alter trade that was doing trading in Europe and Japan with respect to muscovado sugar, no? They were able to transform their lives over time. And para ngayon, dun sa latest study, 70% of the 800 farmers are now above the poverty line. No? So parang meron tayong mga models. We also have another model. For example, yung persons with disabilities, no, PW Federation, yung the National Federation of Co-ops of Persons with Disabilities, they came about because PWDs could not find employment. So they found a way to get to set up co-ops, nandito yung PWDs, no? To set up co-ops and through a self-reliant process assisted by supporters, they were able to create cooperatives for employment and empowerment. No? And they are engaged in school chair production, and they have 15 primary cooperatives with 1,250 persons with disability who otherwise would not have gotten jobs, no? And would not have been able to get wages. No? So another model is Lamak Multipurpose Cooperative, which is a vehicle for social inclusion. They cover around more than 35,000, mostly entrepreneurial, poor in the Visayas. They provide financial and social protection services. And even before the CCT came to be, they were actually providing education and health services to the poor as social protection because government was not doing it. No? But let me just go to another, I'd also like to show another model, yung sa, sa coco coir, kasi mahalaga siguro yon. Yung Pilipinas Ecofiber, it's a social enterprise value chain intervention in the coco coir subsector. And they are engaged in engaging the poor as husk collectors, rural workers, and rural cooperatives as plant workers, twining agents, weavers, edgers. And most of these people are receiving minimum wage. And they're also engaged in twining and weaving. No? So, sabi nga nung DAR subsector study, yung twining and weaving activities, kung ma-regularize mo lang yan, ang laki ng impact sa poverty reduction ng mga tao. Anyway, I just wanted to show that, I wanted to show those examples because I think it's important that yung innovative solutions to poverty reduction na pinag-uusapan natin, we would like government to consider, one, yung economic subsector approach. No? Yung parang, yung industry approach kasi ng DTI, ang tendency, if you look at industry, you look at the big players, and you try to develop the industry using the big players, and hopefully, if the industry develops, it will trickle down to the poor. Ang sabi natin, ang proposal, you've heard sa Congressman Tañada a while ago, we're wanting to propose that NEDA and NAPSI, for example, no, actually get engaged in a study with us to identify the most strategic economic subsectors where the poor are already engaged economically. Kaya yung targeting na hindi to CCT na parang hahabulin mo kung saan yung poor in terms of their homes. No? This is targeting the poor where they are already involved in economic activities. And parang by targeting them in these strategic economic subsectors, we actually work with them to actually do something about, to do something about their poverty situation by working with social enterprises. There are 30,000 social enterprises in the Philippines, but we're finding it very difficult to send the message to government that we're different from SMEs, that we are different from the ordinary business. And the reason why is because we are a response to state and market failures, no? And we are wanting to resolve the problem with government. So parang, yun yung two things na gusto sana naming, na i-consider ng government yung isang bago, a new way of doing things by targeting the poor in the economic subsectors where they are already engaged in economic activity. Work with social enterprises so that with us, we would be able to have targeted poverty reduction in specific subsectors that are strategic all over the country. Sinabi na ni Congressman Tañada kanina that even if we just target yung coco coir subsector, di ba, nagpakita siya ng statistics how relevant it would be in terms of focused targeting in terms of poverty reduction. But having said that, let me also address yung sinabi ng government representatives natin tungkol sa present bill na kailangan tignan niya yung mga issues of rationalization, fiscal responsibility, reducing red tape, and targeting, yung reducing red tape. No? Yung una, dun sa rationalization program, we're actually in dialogue with NAPSI at the moment that we're willing to actually evolve a structure within NAPSI to strengthen NAPSI so that it's the convergence framing for working towards poverty reduction using the subsector approach so that we can target the poor where they are and work with social enterprises. And so we want you to recognize social enterprises as distinct from businesses. Yeah? Because we are different from businesses. Because we are with you in the fight against poverty, first and foremost. Yan. Anyway, in relation to fiscal responsibility, if government can actually spend billions on CCT, I think it can muster enough funds to spend billions also on a more sustainable poverty that is not based on dole-out. Yan. So, doon naman sa reducing red tape, actually the main problems that social enterprises face have to do with government red tape that we're wanting you to help us with. For example, in the area of public procurement, no? I'd like to make special mention, not of the coco coir subsector, kasi kinuha na ni Erin yun, no? Yung public procurement of coco coir. No? I'd like to recognize, especially, the persons with disability who are here. Yung Tahanang Walang Hagdan, at saka yung National Federation of Cooperatives of Persons with Disability. Alam nyo, yung NFP, yung PWD Federation, that's what I call them, and Tahanang Walang Hagdan, are key players already for PWDs in relation to the school chair subsector and educational toy subsector. But mind you, the problem is, when government procures from them, they bid it down to such a low price na hindi na siya nagiging sustainable. DepEd is a problem. DepEd is actually, from the latest dialogue I had with some of the representatives of Tahanang Walang Hagdan, through the executive director of, through Peter Hammerle, no? He informed me that kahit na may track record yung Tahanang Walang Hagdan for the last years of, meeting their contracts, Tahanang Walang Hagdan did not get a single cent in terms of contract this year. I don't know why. There must be a reason why. No? Yung National Federation of Co-ops of Persons with Disability this July are going to go into a bidding process. The federation is thinking of not bidding anymore. Why? Because DepEd is putting the price of school chairs so low, hindi na sila kikita at hindi na nila mabibigyan ng fair wages yung kanilang workers. So, ang isa sa mga gusto sana naming i-propose sa government, no, is actually to set up a body that would actually plan, monitor, and evaluate public procurement schemes that are serving as blocks to the growth and development of social enterprises. Kasi it's not as if though we're asking government for money. Yan. We're asking government to be more responsive. And in one area that it can really do a lot is in public procurement. And in public procurement, parang if you can, doon sa National Federation of Co-ops of Persons with Disability, let me just cite a statistic. No? We did a study on a social return on investment for the National Federation of Co-ops of Persons with Disability from 2002 to 2007. I will not mention the figures anymore kasi baka ma-confuse lang kayo. But they made lots of, there were big contracts, no? Millions. But do you know that when we computed the social return on investment, that 50% of the social return on investment went to government in the form of savings. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Ang ibig sabihin nun, doon sa isang proyekto na dapat mas nakinabang yung mga persons with disability, ang mas nakinabang ay yung gobyerno. Ngayon, savings daw. But I think it's more than just that. No, kasi siguro yung mga, I haven't heard the National Federation of Co-ops of Persons with Disability nor Tahanan complain about corruption. But I think something about corruption and transparency is needing to be resolved in the procurement processes of government. So that if there's one single thing that national government agencies with NAPSI can actually do to work with social enterprises, even before the bill passes, no, it is this. No? To actually work with us to develop a procurement system, a public procurement system that would unblock the development and growth of social enterprises that already have contracts with you. And the contracts with you include, alam ko, for example, sa DA, may contracts yung mga nagpo-provide ng organic fertilizer na co-ops. Okay? Doon sa, and then of course the coco coir, no? The coco coir sector, maraming contracts na po pwedeng mangyari. But we have to resolve the issue of corruption as well. So I think this is consistent with yung matuwid na daan, no? I think we are calling on NAPSI and actually all the government agencies concerned with government procurement involving social enterprises to actually work with us to develop best practices and corrective measures about the way government procurement is being done now.